Good morning, everyone. It's nice to see everybody. Welcome to 2021. I'm letting you know this morning I am battling a tickle in my throat that I have been kind of semi-coughing all morning. I'm fine, no temp. I don't think it's a COVID thing, but hopefully I can make it through this meeting. I have 2 glasses of water sitting right in front of me. So for those of you in the North Pointe building, if you're here and you see me starting to cough, anybody who has lozenges can feel free to stop up to my office and give me some lozenges. So anyway,
I gotta go though, my Zoom meeting just started. Yay!
I am going to mute everybody because I'm getting some background noise. Okay. Well, welcome. As usual, Colleen is going to be manning or womaning the chat box. Are you down in Quarryville right now, Colleen?
I am, yep.
All right. And I want to let everybody know ahead of time here that Matt is going to be writing down the attendees of people on this call, because at the end of the meeting, after it's actually ended, we are going to do a random drawing for a gift card, which I'll tell you a little bit about at the end of the session today. So I am going to share my screen. Okay, this meeting, which we're going to get into a little bit later on, is going to be called the Real Estate Table Stakes in 2021. I'm going to relate it, if you listen to my preview, I'm going to relate it to a pizza franchise. And I've had a couple of comments from people in the interim saying, what are you doing and what are you talking about? It'll become a little clearer when we get to that portion of the meeting. But before we get there, a couple of not only announcements, but we're going to hear from some of our core service providers. I know Dan and James, I saw them on the call. Who wants to chime in first, guys?
I believe Dan's going to be talking.
Okay.
He's still here.
Dan was having audio problems. He should be logging back in.
Okay, I'm going to do the following. I'm going to go on to the title group, Carrie and Sarah. And just to give everybody a heads up, I talked to Carrie and Sarah yesterday about a topic that I thought would be relevant to today, because I've had 2 or 3 people over the last, probably couple of weeks talk to me about the topic that they're going to discuss. And I learned some things yesterday. One of them, which we're going to find out here, is there's no right answer to what we're about to address. So Carrie and Sarah, do you guys want to chime in here?
Sure. So I am taking the reins on this one today. So the topic that we are discussing is actually in regards to if you buy a property and you are single, and then you go and get married, and after you get married, you sell your property, does your spouse need to sign off and be involved in the transaction? And like Tom said, there is no right answer to this. Every title company is different on how they handle this situation, and every scenario would be different as well, such as if there was a divorce pending or anything along those lines. So to keep it simple, the general answer would be, inform the title company that your party is married and ask how would they like to handle the situation. You can do your agreement of sale. You can do all of your paperwork with just the individual who is on the deed. But as most of you know, there will always be a form that goes out from the title company to ask agents information about the transaction. And one of those questions is the seller married, or was the property deeded in one name and now there are 2 parties involved? Depending on who that title company is, they may require that spouse to join in and sign off the deed. And for you as a listing agent, it's important for you to understand that, because you need to relay that to your client so it doesn't come up, 3 weeks into the transaction and all of a sudden somebody's wife needs to sign off and she can't make it to closing, and now we have some other obstacles that we have to accomplish. So you can always do your homework. You can hop online to the lancasterdeeds.com, pull up the property's deed yourself to see who it is deeded to. You can always take that to your listing appointments. Ask your seller, hey, is it just still you, or have you gotten married? And then you'll know what information to pass on to the title company handling the transaction so that everything is taken care of smoothly. Carrie, do you want to add anything else or have anything else to say?
There we go. I think that you covered it all. Once Dan talks about his topic, I'm going to jump in and comment on that.
Okay. Thank you, ladies. Dan, is he on the call now? Is he still
Yeah, I'm back.
Okay.
I'm back.
Welcome back, Dan.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, just wanted to touch off on, obviously we're into 2021. And for those of you that were here last year, we should have the federal grant program launching towards the end of this month. That is a first-time homebuyer grant. Ultimately, that is anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000, depending on a variety of circumstances. There is a veteran component. There is a community partner component, which basically is for anyone that works in the medical field or the education field. A lot of specifics as far as that, case by case, but ultimately that should be launching towards the end of this month. It's a great program because it's a grant, so it's free money. There are income limits with it. They have not been released yet. So obviously once we have more of that information, James and I will roll that out formally to everyone. But we just wanted to make everyone aware that is coming in the next few weeks. The other thing obviously is we continue to have the access to LHOP funds, which also is a grant. And then also PHFA has their Advantage Assistance, which can be used for down payment and or closing costs. So the beauty of this time of year is these grants and assistance programs can be all layered. So in some situation, it is very advantageous to buyers for down payment, for closing costs. The programs do have minimum borrower contributions. So again, depending on specific circumstances, there is a little bit of skin in the game, but ultimately you're talking, maybe $1,000 or $1,500 depending on the situation, which, at the end of the day, isn't really a whole lot considering all they can get in value. So once more information becomes available, we'll definitely share that with you, James and myself. And again, there's always these other programs with LHOP as well as PHFA that continue to be available all year round, other than the existing grant that's coming up. So if you have any questions, once we roll everything out, we'll be more than happy to work with you and your buyers for these programs. That's all I had.
And Carrie, you said you had something to add to that?
Yes, I know Dan said he was going to mention forbearance. If you have a seller who chose the forbearance for their mortgage, please have them let us know that. That's very important because those payoffs can take much longer to receive. They have to go back and recalculate what they had put off to pay. So those payoffs can take a lot longer. So if we know that in advance, that's a huge help.
Okay. We're going to talk about that actually a little bit later on here, but hey, Dan and James, with these special grant programs, I know in the past, depending upon which grant it was maybe taking a little bit longer. If somebody's thinking about doing this, what type of time frame should they be putting in their agreement of sale?
I would say, 45 days probably would be the minimum. Obviously, for, if anyone has a USDA loan going right now, USDA is, I think, as of Tuesday of this week, they were still working on files from December 15th. So they are, 3 to 4 weeks behind right now. We hope that they get caught up at some point. So right now, USDA is somewhat of a train wreck as far as turn times. What's that, James?
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing how they're not getting caught up at all.
But I think, when we're looking at a buyer and we're using, a grant program, actually the federal home loan grant, which is coming up at the end of this month, there's actually ways to process that which really shouldn't impact turn times a great deal. It's when we start layering things together. So if we layer PHFA and LHOP and obviously USDA, again, it's a case-by-case basis. So if we have a buyer that's utilizing all of those programs, I think the important thing is that, we'll kind of work with you as the agent to make sure that before you're submitting an offer, we have an idea what a turn time is going to look like. Do we need 45 days? Do we need 60 days? And hopefully it shouldn't go longer than 60, but I think we should have that conversation before an agreement is written if we're using these particular programs.
Yeah.
So that'd be my response to that.
Okay. Thanks, guys. James White. I didn't see James. Is he on the call?
Yep, I'm here.
Hey, James.
Here. Good morning. I had a quick little case study there. I had an elevation certificate with a property that needed flood insurance. I'd looked up the news. What I had gotten from the realtor involved in this transaction was an elevation certificate that was done for the construction was completed on the home. So on the address, it didn't have, on the address listed on the elevation certificate, it did not have a specific address. So my discussions with the flood insurance underwriter, they could not accept that elevation certificate. So if that's something that you happen to run into in the future, just let you know that can't be accepted. And that this was a construction case, as I said, as well, too. So the customer might have to get an elevation certificate on their own to get a better rate if they need that flood insurance to close the loan, basically. So that was something I learned yesterday, and I just wanted to give you a quick update on how much growth we had at Homesale Insurance. My manager sent us the totals the other day, and we had 2,375 policies issued in 2019 from all the agents that work agency. And last year it was 2,939 in 2020. So that was about a 24% increase from 2019 to 2020. And we are definitely growing, and I really thank you all for your support.
Thanks, James. Okay, a couple of housekeeping items. First of all, I've been asked by our accounting department to just review this, and I know I've done this in the past, but I just wanted to re-emphasize it again. Everybody, I believe, knows that when you're turning in a transaction, you should be turning in a form called the TSR, which is a transaction summary report. It's the one on your screen on the left-hand side there. There's a whole bunch of information which needs to be filled out, and that form needs to be forwarded on to our accounting department a minimum within 10 days of settlement. The reason why we do that is so we aren't rushing around at the last second, and we can pay you in a very, very timely manner on a timely basis. Now, the issue that we have been, or they've been experiencing at this point in time is, as happens in the real estate industry, stuff happens on the way to the settlement table, and sometimes settlement gets delayed, or there's a change in sale price, or something else happens, and agents are going back to the original TSR that's in the loop, and they're adjusting it and resubmitting it. Now, that may seem like the optimum way to do it. However, the issue that we have, or the accounting department has, is they now have two of these sheets, and they have to spend the time going through each field to see what has changed. And in some instances, that can take quite some time. because as you see there's a lot of information on the sheet itself. So if you are making a change in a transaction and you want to make a change to the TSR sheet, there is a TSR change sheet, which should be the form that you fill out. Both of these forms are in .loop. So I just wanted to bring it to your attention again. I know, once again, we've talked about this in the past, but it continues to be one of those bugaboo things that we need to keep bringing up. I brought this to everybody's attention last meeting. This is actually taking place tomorrow. This is a very, very huge event. Real estate's rocking in the new year 2021 with Risk Media and the National Association of Realtors. Our own Rod Messick is going to be one of the main speakers at this. There are 20 plus sessions that are here. If you haven't registered for this, and by the way, it's tomorrow from 11 to 5:30, and I know that's a big chunk of time, but you can go to register for this. The normal registration fee is $150. Because Rod is one of the main speakers, you can get free tickets to this. Now I have the website underneath the last line here. Don't worry about writing that down. I'm going to send it out with the notes, so you'll be able to click on that URL and register for free. It's going to be an awesome event. I've seen some of the speakers that are on here. There's a lot for agents. There's a lot for brokers. You can pick and choose and kind of mix and match what you want to talk or what you want to listen to. Each session is about a half hour long. So you can come on, hop off, hop on again. There's going to be something for everybody. So I wanted to make sure everybody is aware of that. In addition, Homesale Career Development has some sessions that are going on in January of this year. Your online presence, new builds, converting internet leads, embracing video, advanced .loop features. There was a registration email that was sent out on January 4th. So if you overlooked it and one of these looks enticing to you, get back into your email, look for that email that was sent out on January 4th and register. You'll get the Zoom link in your email. In addition, I brought this up in our previous meeting. We obviously can't get together as a group. Usually our kickoff meeting is held locally here in the Lancaster marketplace. I think last year it was held at the Lancaster Country Club. Had a very nice breakfast. Lots of information was shared. Rod talked about a book that he had read. Lots of good things at that kickoff meeting. We can't do that this year, obviously, because of the group restrictions that we're dealing with COVID-19. So we're having a virtual Zoom kickoff meeting. It's Tuesday, January 19th at 10 o'clock. It will start, will end promptly at 12 noon. I don't have the Zoom link yet, but when I do, you can be assured that I will send that out in an email to the entire group. In addition, I will have it posted on our Facebook page. I also have reminders on our office's Facebook page. If you just want to raise your hand and say, hey, I'm going to the event, we'll make sure you get the Zoom link to that. And then everybody, I believe, received an email not only from Bright MLS, but also from Sandra Tricoli. And this came out just within the last day or two. Bright is changing the way their homepage looks. You see a screenshot of my new homepage there. By the way, there is the new URL. It's called newbrightmls.com. It is available right now. If you want to hop on and see what it looks like, just type in that URL. You use the exact same username and password. All the data that you put into the old system is migrated over even now to the new system. So if you set up searches in there, if you set up things to go out to clients, they are all there in the new system. I would encourage you to get used to this because I believe the old homepage is going to go away sometime in February, which is in 30 days or so. You can sign up for training. That email that was sent out to everybody January 6th, 20th, and 27th at 10 o'clock in the morning. You can sign up once again for the new training for the website called Bright MLS Workspaces. I did get in there, as I said, this is a screenshot of my page. I did get in there and play around with a little bit. It is so much more user-friendly, in my opinion. But get in there, get used to it now, because in February you're gonna have to use this anyway. So start getting used to it now. Some North Point news having to do with our internet here at North Point. I know everybody, from time to time, I end up with smiling faces at my door that says, hey, is the internet down again? Or is anybody having problems with the internet? I have the same pat answer. Nope, you're the first person that's ever talked to me about this. So we realized that we had a problem. It was kind of spotty coming in and out sometimes. There were some dead spots here in the office, which is a big office building. I have been in contact and communication with Shannon, Terry, and Sandra Tricoli since probably before the new year, working on a new internet system where it's going to be massively upgraded so that, and I'm going to use Shannon's words here. He said, if you think our old system was like driving down Route 30 at 50 miles an hour, this is like a rocket ship taking off from Cape Canaveral. This is going to be apparently not only a little bit of an upgrade, but a massive upgrade. Now, I do want to let you know that this is occurring on Friday, January 8th, which is in 2 days. Comcast is going to be here in the morning sometime between 10 and 12. And for approximately an hour, once they start working on the system, there may be some outages, there may be some interruptions that you may experience. It's normal. I am going to have Marion send out an email as a reminder at the end of the day tomorrow that this is going to occur on Friday, but it's going to be that really short-term pain to get a huge, massive upgrade, which I think everybody will enjoy. By the way, during the period of time that they are upgrading the internet service here at the North Point office, it is not going to impact the phones, because sometimes that's been a case also that, you know, phone systems have gone up and down and in and out. So that's not going to be the case. And while we're talking about phones, approximately, I don't know, 3-4 weeks ago, we had a major problem with our phones here at North Point, where we had some major issues for almost 24 hours. It's not the first time that this has ever happened here. I want everybody to know that after that occurrence, I sat down also with Sandra and Shannon, and basically we are working on working through some issues to provide a brand new type of phone system here at North Point. More information will be forthcoming in the future, but I want to let you know what we had experienced in the past, having that 24 hours of kind of like, I don't want to say downtime, but it was spotty, it was hit and miss. That was unacceptable to me, and that is going to change. So wanted to make sure everybody's aware. So some market insights for 2021. I'm a big stat guy, as most people know, and I peruse all kinds of websites looking for stats that will give you good information to have as real estate agents as you're talking with your buyers and sellers in the field. And I wanted to share a couple of stats and charts with you here today that point toward a really positive 2021. As Dan and Carrie mentioned, you know, if you're having issues, excuse me, if you have buyers or sellers that are involved with forbearance transactions, you should be getting in touch with title officers and mortgage companies and things like that. And forbearance, just to break it down to the nitty gritty, if people are having trouble making their mortgage payment because of COVID-19 and what the pandemic has meant, because they either lost a job or something affected their personal situation, they can contact their mortgage provider and they can go into what is referred to as forbearance. You see a chart here. Back in June, the number of millions of cases of people that were in forbearance, you can see what the number was there. And look what it is here in November, which is, 5-6 months later. The trend, as you see here, is clearly going way, way down. Now, I do suspect that this may tick up just a little bit in December because, as everybody is aware, Governor Wolf once again put in restrictions to everybody across Pennsylvania, which caused more people to be out of work. So I do anticipate this to go up a little bit in November and maybe even January. But clearly, this trend is on the way down, and there's not as many people today that are in forbearance as there were back in May, June, and July in the midst of the pandemic. Now, having said that, if you take a look closely at the type of forbearance plans that people are involved with, I thought this was a very interesting chart in that of all the people collectively that go into forbearance, this is the reason or what's going on after they enter forbearance. Over 50% of the people, and you see the green section here, they're either still paying their mortgage payments on time, or they've actually put their home on the market, paid it off, or they've brought all the past payments current. So it's a really good thing. Over 50% of the people who entered forbearance, it's been a positive thing and there's not been an issue. There's another 30% of these people that have gone into this that are working on some type of repayment plan or modification, which was the intent of forbearance to start out with. And then, as you see here in the red, only about 14 to 15% of the people are truly, truly in trouble. So I'm going to go back a screen here, as you see. So that 2.86 million, there's only about 15% of those people that are truly in trouble with forbearance. So the program itself has served its purpose, and it's a very, very good thing. Now, having said that, I realize that you as agents might be getting phone calls and inquiries from your past clients about, hey, I heard this thing about forbearance. I'm in trouble. I lost my job. I'm in the restaurant industry. I haven't been back to work in a while. How can I delay my payments? Well, here are the 5 steps that you need to go through or should go through, and these are according to the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. First of all, you need to find the contact information for your servicer. Usually you can find that right on your mortgage statement. You need to call your servicer and explain your situation. You're having trouble making those payments because of your employment is probably the biggest one that is provided to the mortgage lender. Ask if you are eligible for protections under the CARES Act. Your lender will work closely with you on that. Then ask what happens when the forbearance period ends. A lot of people are under the false assumption that, well, it just gets delayed or that period of time just goes away. That's not always the case. And in fact, most instances, it's not. Ask some questions. Here are some questions to ask here. What happens to the payments that I miss? What are my repayment options? When will repayment be due? Are there any fees that are associated with the forbearance? So these are some key questions that you want to have your clients ask their mortgage lender. And then finally, once you discuss these things on the phone with your mortgage provider and you think you heard everything that they say and you took good notes, ask them to provide something to you in writing so that you can compare your notes versus what they are giving you, making sure that they are one and the same. So I thought I'd pass these on to you in case you're getting inquiries from your clients. Some forecasts for home prices coming up in 2021. Now you have two types of forecasts here. This first one was actually put out in November. It's the grouping on the left-hand side here. This was a 12-month forecast going forward. You see that nationwide, things are looking pretty good. You know, if you take the top, which is Zelman, which is 5.9, and take the bottom, which is CoreLogic 1.9, and kind of average them all together, we're looking at prices going up about 3 to 4%. And if you look at some of the major players and what they're projecting in 2021, take a look at that also. Once again, throwing at the top, throwing at the bottom, we're in that 3-4% range in the middle. So across the country, things are still looking really, really good as we enter 2021. A lot of people were saying, gosh, I think, you know, these prices are getting out of hand. Are we heading into a recession? I'm going to deal with that here in a second. A lot of people look at supply and demand, and it's something they either learned or was touched on in high school, or they took an economics course in college and they heard this supply and demand thing and they don't know what the heck it meant. Well, here's a great chart looking at how the supply of homes is affecting the price of homes. The orange line that you see here, and by the way, this is nationwide. The orange line that you see here from 2010 to 2020, look at what has happened to inventory levels across the United States. And then you can see directly inversely proportional to that, look at where home prices are going. So as one is going down, the other one is going up. I mean, if we did a chart here in Lancaster County, I'm sure it would almost mirror what you're looking at right here as far as where the two lines are going. So I wanted to share that with you as to how supply affects demand and prices. And this is the chart that I thought was really interesting. I have heard from a number of agents. I've heard from brokers. I've heard from consumers saying, you know, these prices that are going up at a rapid pace, this can't be sustained. And, you know, we're all going to start paying for this because it's very close to what I saw, let's say, the individuals are saying, in 2006, 2007. Well, not really. 2006 and 2007 was totally different. And this chart explains it so well. This is a chart called Household Debt Service Ratio for Mortgages as a Percentage of Disposable Personal Income. This is put out by the Federal Reserve. And you can see in the fourth quarter of 2007, at the height of the bubble when things crashed, look at how much of individuals' disposable personal income was going toward that mortgage. Once again, on a quarterly basis. Look where that is today. It's half of what it was during the bubble. Not only is it half of what it was during the bubble, it's lower than at any other time since 1980, which bodes extremely well for a healthy real estate market going forward. And then these are actually local figures. This just came out, which I read in Lancaster Online. Newspaper put it out. This is Lancaster County's unemployment figures. If you look at the chart on the left-hand side, this is where we were in November of 2019 before wacky 2020 hit. And as you see, at the height of the pandemic, our unemployment rate here in Lancaster County got up to over 15%. But look at what has happened to that since. It is steadily going down and down and down. As a matter of fact, we've had 7 straight months in Lancaster County of the unemployment rate going down. Now, once again, I am going to say I would fully anticipate that in December, which the figures aren't out yet, that may tick up a little bit because once again, Wolf put on some of those additional restrictions, but you can see that we're doing extremely well. And when you look at Lancaster County versus the state versus the United States, we are extremely well positioned in our county here in regards to what is happening in our local economy. And by the way, if you're looking at Lancaster County versus the other 17 metropolitan areas within Pennsylvania, right now we rank number 3 in the best numbers. So things, once again, as we head into 2021, are boding extremely well for the real estate business. So the last part of the meeting, I'm going to deal with what is referred to as table stakes in the real estate business. Now, I'm going to be the first to tell you, I'm not a gambler. Every once in a while when I play poker because I'm forced to, I'll never gamble a dime because I have no clue what I'm doing, as do most people. But I do know people that do gamble, not only with poker, but with roulette and you name it. They'll go to the casinos. I'm not one of them. However, I do know there's a thing called table stakes. Table stakes in business is kind of like, hey, what's the minimum you got to bring to the table in business in order to be a viable entity, person, company? What do you got to do? Well, I got to tell you, in 2021, the table stakes were raised. They were raised big time. And I have heard from a number of people in our industry saying, I can't wait until we get through this pandemic and we get back to quote unquote normal. I got to tell you, that normal was left in the dust a couple of months ago. We're no longer in a normal market. This is going to be something we're going to have to deal with changes that are being made in the real estate business. I'm going to deal with this over the next couple of minutes here. So during the pandemic, one of the things I did is I went back to my bookshelf in my personal residence. I was looking for some interesting things to read. And I read this book 2 years ago. It's called Shift Ahead. And it was a fascinating book where these two gentlemen basically took a look at about 100 companies, and they looked and saw how they shifted to either meet the market or how they failed to meet the market expectations of what was going on in the industry at the time. They looked at some big name players. Some of these are no longer around. One of the companies that's in Shift Ahead was a company called BlackBerry. By the way, as an individual who got into the real estate business way back when, my first cell phone, smartphone, was a BlackBerry. So I can relate to this. Because when I had my BlackBerry and I started seeing the iPhones and everything else coming down the pike, I kept looking at this thing going, hey, this isn't doing half the things of what these other things are doing. So BlackBerry was a company that failed to shift. There's other companies that actually shifted on a dime. And by the way, I highly would encourage you, there's a lot of case studies in here. Just hop on Amazon or hop on one of the other sites, pick up the book. As I said, it's about 2 years old. And you will be amazed. As I was reading through this, I'm thinking, God, this stuff is ancient history. But it's only 2 years old. That's how fast things have changed. So one of the things that was examined in Shift Ahead was pizza chains. And it was really interesting, the section on pizza chains, the company that they took a look at was Domino's Pizza. Now, this study was actually done, this question was actually done and put out to a website called The Daily Meal, which is a well-known website having to do with food and products and things like that, was put out in January 31st of 2020. So this was current. And they basically said to all the subscribers, tell us what your favorite pizza chain is. Rate them regarding convenience, menu diversity, the care in making the pizza itself, the freshness and quality of the ingredients, the flavor and the texture of the pizza. Put all these things together and tell us what you think. And they rank them, and you can Google this, they rank the top 35 pizza chains. Now, I'm not going to go through 35, but I am going to go through what the top 4 pizza chains were. Number 4, Papa John's. Now, Papa John's has had a lot of problems over the last couple of years, not only with their owner, but with some other things that have been happening within that chain itself. Looks like they've righted the ship a little bit, and they rank number 4. Number 3, Little Caesars. There's a Little Caesars by my house. I've had their pizza every once in a while. Not high on my list, but it was number 3 in a nationwide survey. Number 2, Pizza Hut. Pizza Hut is in my neighborhood. I stop by there, once every other week or so. They have a good setup, at least in the local Pizza Hut in my marketplace. But the number 1 chain is Domino's Pizza. Now, Domino's, and everybody has their favorite. I like Domino's. Domino's is in my neighborhood. I can get takeout pizza there. I can get it delivered. But the reason why I put this up on the screen here is when they were examined during this writing of Shift Ahead, they looked at them back in 2009. And in 2009, Domino's had some major, major problems.
There comes a time when you know you've got to make a change. You can't lead a company like this unless you love food. I love food. I love pizza. It was about 50 years ago that they started the first store just about 5 miles from here.
2 brothers had a great idea, and they also said they wanted to get it delivered within 30 minutes, and that's something that no one said could be done. In fact, the first pizza delivery vehicle for our company is that vehicle right there. Around the 80s, we were exploding. We were the fastest growing company in the history of franchise business. Nothing had ever grown like that.
Now we're almost 9,000 restaurants around the world. We love what we do at Domino's.
Pizza, where's the love? How hard? Bread, sauce, cheese, fresh ingredients. Doesn't feel like there's much love in Domino's Pizza.
Domino's pizza crust, to me, is like cardboard.
Is it smart to watch this stuff?
Yeah, it's hard to watch.
I hear what some folks are saying about our stuff.
Oh, this one's bad. Worst excuse for pizza I've ever had.
The sauce tastes like ketchup.
Totally void of flavor.
You know what? When you first hear it, it's shocking.
The cardboard complaint is the most common one.
This we hear over and over and over.
I mean, that hits you right in the heart. This is what we've done. This is what I've done, for 25 years now.
You can either use negative comments to get you down, or you can use them to excite you and energize your process of making a better pizza. We did the latter.
Most companies hide the criticism that they're getting, and we actually faced it head on.
Some people didn't get us credit for the taste of our product. That's what we're fixing.
We listen to our consumers, and they want us to be better, and we want them to be happier. We want people to love our pizza.
This is what's driving us. This is what's lit the fire under us. This is what's making us want to get better.
Who are we?
Pizza! It's been crazy down here. We had our best chefs working hard to find the best combination, looking at 10 crust types, 15 sauces, dozens of cheeses.
You can't just add a little salt or add a little something to the recipe. I mean, we basically had to start over with a new recipe.
And they were working day and night and weekends to get it done.
You know, this is Roxanne. She's one of the lead chefs for pizzas, and she's constantly trying new stuff, and she's saying, try this and try that. You know, the day she put this in front of me, I said, dang, this is the real deal.
We changed everything. The crust, the sauce, the cheese. Now it tastes better.
We started working on the cheese.
We've got shredded cheese.
Cheese, it's cheese.
It's tastier. When you smell it, it's got an aroma to it. I mean, this is what cheese should be.
We started working on the sauce.
New sauce is bright, it's spicy, it's robust.
We've got garlic in here, we've got oregano, we've got basil, we've got and a little bit of red pepper just to tingle on your tongue.
It's a bold flavor.
When you bite into that, that's what pizza sauce should taste like.
We started working on the crust.
A nice, rich, buttery crust with some garlic and some herbs in there.
It gives it a nice finish for you. Great taste from the first bite to the last bite on every single slice.
Now we got great food, we've earned the swagger, right? We're gonna do an end zone dance on this one. I can't wait to have people try it. And it's not even about being right, it's about us having great food.
No, it's about us being right. And you know, I can't wait for Adrian to try our new pizza.
So I think she's gonna be surprised.
We're gonna bring her the new pizza, see how she likes it. She has no idea we're coming.
Hey.
Adrienne?
Yeah.
Now they actually have a whole series of these, and this became their marketing campaign. So they started out, Domino's Pizza, in 2005. They wanted to be the fastest delivery pizza chain out there, and they accomplished that. In fact, they had a whole campaign around that. This, you may remember, was their slogan or promise. All their commercials had, you got 30 minutes? Because we'll get you the pizza in 30 minutes. That's what they hung their hat on. And then in 2009, Domino's was the best at fast delivery. But guess what? Everybody else was fast delivery. The table stakes had been raised. From 2005, in just 4 short years, everybody in that industry was delivering pizzas fast. It was no longer something that set them apart from everybody else. They had to do something about it. So what did they do? They got rid of their fast delivery campaign in 2010. Totally scrapped it, even though they were the best in the business at fast delivery pizza. They recognized that they had to make a shift in what they did. And you saw with some of the people that were in that commercial, it hit home with a lot of people there. So what does pizza have to do with real estate? And I can say this not only about real estate, I can say this about mortgages, about title companies, insurance companies, warranty companies, you name it. Anybody who is in business, you have a certain level that you have to just, those are the table stakes that you've got to have in order to sit at the table. Here's real estate in 2021. See if you've heard this. See if you've heard agents say this about themselves in 2021. I am professional. I know my market. I'm an experienced agent. I have a high degree of ethics. How about marketing in real estate in 2021? See if you've heard this. See if you've uttered this, or you've heard other agents mutter this when they're in front of a buyer or a seller. We put your home in the MLS. I'm going to create a flyer for you. We're going to promote your listing on our website. I'm going to take professional pictures of your home. I got to tell you guys, these are all table stakes now. These are all given. If you're using this and you're using these as differentiators in your business today, either with buyers or sellers, I'm not saying ignore them. I'm just saying this is not going to set you apart. You have to find something that sets you apart from the competition. Let's take a look at another industry. The Uber wasn't even around 10 years ago. Suppose they based their whole marketing campaign on the following. Our drivers know how to drive. Our drivers know cities. Our drivers have clean cars. Our drivers are courteous. I got to tell you, all that stuff is table stakes. You better have all those things, because if you don't, you're going to be left behind. If you go to their website today, you go to their mobile devices today, or you hop on their mobile app, this is what they say front and center. We're setting 100,000 plus cities in motion. And there's all kinds of different things that Uber is offering to its customers to take advantage of what they do best. They're not offering those table stakes there. Those are givens. Just like everything in our business, there are certain things in our business that are just givens. We're not going to differentiate ourselves by doing a flyer for somebody. So the first rule of branding is differentiate yourself. And the first rule of marketing is be interesting to your customer. Think back to those, 6-8 things that I mentioned on the slide a couple of slides ago. Do any of those things differentiate you as an agent? Do any of those things make you, quote unquote, interesting to your clients? They are table stakes, and table stakes don't cut it. Now, they're important to build a base, but what are you adding on top of the base? Now, I put together a pyramid here for you. And I put all those things from a couple of slides ago into this pyramid. And in Lancaster County today, there are 1,400 plus realtors in our marketplace. And all of them say, I'm going to take professional pictures. I'm going to put your home into the MLS. I have market knowledge. I am very ethical in my business. And I say, you better, because all of those things are table stakes. What you need as an agent is this. What is going to stop people in their tracks and make an impression upon who is experiencing you as an agent or reading about you? By listing all these things that I have here, it's not going to cut it, okay? We have to think differently moving forward in 2021 and beyond, for that matter. Without interest, you are plain white toast. By the way, I love white toast. But you're boring. I'm not saying I'm boring. Boring, uninteresting. I've seen it, I've heard it, and I'm going to move on. If you're mentioning all of these things, you're plain white toast. Do something more. Do something more than plain white toast. The consumer, the people that you and I do business with, all of us on this call are doing business with, they're all being vied for their attention. Ask yourself, is what I'm offering truly compelling? Is it something that somebody's going to take a look at and say, well, that's different. I haven't heard that before, or that's special. Nobody else is doing that, okay? By the way, sometimes this isn't easy to do. Sometimes you got to sit in a quiet, dark room with a pad of paper and saying, how am I different than somebody else? And jot down some things. because you need to have this first and foremost and front and center in front of your clients. So let's start with this. Let's start with your professional bio. Now, I'm not going to call anybody out on this call. That's not the purpose of this. But when you first join Homesale, you are asked to do a bio on yourself and submit it to our IT department, and they'll put it onto our website, onto your web page, and this is what it says if you submit nothing. I'm going to read just a couple of sentences here, and you tell me what you think of this. I will coordinate and help you with all aspects of your purchase or sale, from the home search, contract negotiation, home inspections, and contract fulfillment to the closing details. Guys, that's table stakes. Everybody ought to be doing that. And by the way, if your bio on homesale.com is this, by the end of the day today, get it changed. I'm just saying. Because this is table stakes. All these paragraphs in here have a lot of generalities, and nothing in here sets you apart from anybody else. This, on the other hand, is something beyond table stakes. I'm going to read this because I thought this was really good. This is a broker in Washington, D.C. Her name is Addie Williams. And her bio says the following. Addie Williams is a philanthropist, real estate broker, and owner-founder of DC Home Buzz, a real estate brokerage firm located in Washington, D.C. She started DC Home Buzz in 2008, which has since grown into a multi-million-dollar entity. Addie is passionate about educating buyers and sellers on the real estate process and committed to educating, mentoring, and supporting other entrepreneurs. Keeping in line with that commitment, she has begun training with Pipeline Fellows as an angel investor. Addie was the recipient of the Jones New York Empowerment Grant, which she used to develop financial education curriculum for homeless women. Addie has been featured on HGTV, blah, 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 blah. Sound a little different? Now, granted, this is a high-end individual. This person, she's got it going on. She's done a lot of things. And you may be asking yourself, I'm just starting out in the business. I haven't done all this stuff. Trust me, you have things that are in your holster today that you can put on paper that will separate you from everybody else. You have to take the time to think about it. And by the way, your bio is only one thing. Everything that you do, everything that you present in the marketplace to buyers and sellers needs to show what your differentiator is. If it's just, I'm professional, I'm ethical, those are table stakes. It's not going to cut it because everybody's saying the same thing. I'm going to end with this. This is Alan Adamson, who's the author, one of the authors of Shift Ahead, the book that I read. Right after you open the champagne, you must be worried about what is coming tomorrow. Think about what Domino's did. In 2005, they were the tops in the business in delivering pizza really, really fast. And in 4 short years, it was table stakes. If they wouldn't have shifted, doing something different, adding something to their arsenal, they would have been left in the dust. And you saw by that survey in 2020, they are number one. They are the number one pizza franchise out there. So let's all be Domino's Pizzas, okay? Now, that's all I have today. We're at 12 noon. I told you at the beginning, I have a gift card to give out. Now, Matt has been keeping track of everybody who's on the call. After this call has ended, I'm going to consult with him, and we are going to pick out a random winner to win a Domino's Pizza gift card. So, hope everybody had a great new year, and look forward to the year ahead and all the stuff that we're going to do together. Take care, everyone.